Good morning, ma'am. Morning, friends. Now I want to present the material. Chapter 8, Validity of Research Results atau validitas hasil penelitian. In this chapter, we discuss validity issues for quantitative research and for qualitative research. First, validity issues in the design of quantitative research. An extraneous variable is a variable that may compete with the independent variable in explaining the outcome of a study. A confounding variable, or also called a third variable, is an extraneous variable that does cause a problem because we know that it does have relationship with the independent and dependent variable. A confounding variable is a variable that systematically varies or influences the independent variable and also influences the dependent variable. When you design a research study in which you want to make a statement about cause and effect, you must think about what extraneous variables are probably confounding variables and do something about it. Statistical conclusion validity. Statistical conclusion validity refers to the ability to make an accurate assessment about whether the independent and dependent variables are related and about the strength of the relationship. So the two key questions here are: first, are the variables related, and number two, how strong is the relationship? Typically, null hypothesis significance testing is used to determine whether two variables are related in the population from which the study data were selected. This procedure will tell you whether a relationship is statistically significant or not. For now, just remember that a relationship is said to be statistically significant when we do not believe that it is nothing but a chance occurrence, and a relationship is not statistically significant when the null hypothesis testing procedure says that any observed relationship is probably nothing more than normal sampling error or fluctuation. To determine how strong a relationship is, researchers use what are called effect size indicators. There are many different effect size indicators, but they all tell you how strong a relationship is. For now, remember that the answer to the first key question, or are the variables related, is answered using null hypothesis significance testing, and the answer to the second key question, or how strong is the relationship, is our using an effect size indicator. First indicator, validity. Internal validity. Internal validity is defined as the approximate validity. We infer the relationship between two variables is causal. Cook and Campbell, 1979. First, a good synonym for the term internal validity is causal validity because that is what internal validity is all about. Second, if you can show that you have high internal validity or high causal validity, then you can conclude that you have strong evidence for causality. However, if you have low internal validity, then you must conclude that you have little or no evidence of causality. And the first types of causal relationship. Causal description involves describing the consequences of manipulating an independent variable. In general, causal description involves showing that change in variable X causes change in variable Y. Causal explanation involves more than just causal description. Causal explanation involves explaining the mechanics through which the condition under under which a causal relationship holds. This involves the in conclusion or in your research study of mediating or intervening variables and moderator variables. And the next criteria for inferring causation. There are three main conditions that are always required if you want to make a claim that change in one variable cause change in another variable. We call this the three necessary condition for causality. First condition, variable A and variable B must be related, or the relationship condition. Second condition, proper time order must be established, or the temporal attendance condition. Third condition, the relationship between variable A and variable B must not be due to some confounding external or third variable or the lack of alternative explanation condition. And the next, threats to internal validity. In this session, we'll discuss several threats to internal validity that have the identified by research methodologies, especially by Campbell and Stanley 1963. The first weak design is the one group pretest post-test design, which is despicable like this OXO. In this design, a group is pretest, then a treatment is administered, and then the people are post-test. For example, you could measure your students' understanding of history at the beginning of the term. Then you teach them history for the term, and you measure them again on their understanding of history at the end of the term. The second week design to remember for this chapter is called the post-test only design with non-equivalent groups. In this lecture, I will also refer to this design as a two-group design and sometimes as a multi-group design, or science it has more than group. X treatment O2, X control O2. In this design, there is no pretest. One group gets the treatment and the other group gets no treatment or some different treatment, and both groups are post-test. Example, you teach you class history for a quarter and measure their understanding at the end for comparison. Furthermore, the groups are found whether they already exist or that its participants are not randomly assigned to the groups. In comparing the two designs, just mention note that comparison in the one group design is the participants' pretest scores with the post-test scores. The comparison in the two group design is between the two group post-test scores. Some research like to call the point of comparison the counterfactual. In the one group pretest post-test design so above, the counterfactual is the pretest. In the two group design so above, the counterfactual is the post-test of the control group. Remember this key point in each of the multi-group research design or design that include more than one group of participants. You want the different groups to be the same all on external variables and different only on the independent variable. Example, such that the one group gets the treatment and the other group does not. In the other words, you want the only systematic difference between the groups to be exposed to the independent variable. There are 9 traits to internal validity. The first trait to internal validity is called ambiguous temporal precedence. Ambiguous temporal precedence is defined as the inability for the research or based on the data to specify which variable is the cause and which variable is the effect. The second trait to internal validity is called the history trait. The history trait refers to an event other than the planned treatment event that occurred between the present pretest and post-test measure and has an influence on the dependent variable. In short, if both a treatment and a history effect occur between the present and the post-test, you will not know whether the observed difference between the pre-test and the post-test is due to the treatment or due to the history event. In short, these two events are confounded. For example, the principal may come into the experimental classroom during the research study, which alters two outcomes. The third second trait to internal validity is called maturation. Maturation is proven when a physical or mental change occurs over time and it affects the participant's performance on the dependent variable. For example, if you measure first grade students' ability to perform arithmetic problem at the beginning of the year and again at the end of the year, some of their improvement will probably be due to the natural maturation and not just do what you have taught them during the year. Therefore, in the one group design, you will not know if their improvement is due to the teacher or if it is due to maturation. The fourth trait to internal validity is called testing. Testing refers to any change on the second administration of a test results of having previously taken a test. For example, let's say that you have a treatment that you believe will cause students to reduce racial stereotyping. You use the one group's design and you have your participants take a pretest and post-test measuring their agreement with certain racial stereotypes. The problem is that perhaps their scores on the post-test are the result of being sensitized to the issue of racial stereotypes because they took a pretest. The fifth trait to internal validity is called instrumentation. Instrumentation refers to any change that occurs in the way the dependent variable is measured in the research study. For example, let's say that one person does your pretest assessment of students' racial stereotyping, but you have a different person do your post-test assessment of students' stereotyping. Also assume that the second person tends to overlook so much stereotyping, but that the first person pick up on all stereotyping. The problem is the perhaps much of the positive gain occurring perform from the pretest to the post-test is due to post-test assessment now picking up on the use of stereotyping. The sixth trait to internal validity is called regression artifacts or regression to the mean. Regression artifact refers to the tendency of very high pretest scores to become lower and for very low pretest scores to become higher on post-testing. You should always be on the lookout for regression to the mean when you select participation based on extreme or very high or very low test scores. For example, let's say that you select people who have extremely high score on your racial stereotyping text. Some of the scores are probably artificially high because of transient factors and a lack of perfect reliability. Therefore, each stereotyping goes down from pre-test to post-test. Some or all of the change may be due to a regression artifact. The seventh trait to internal validity is called differential selection. Differential selection only applies to multi-group designs. It refers to selection participants for the various groups in your study that have different characteristics. The trait to internal validity is called differential attrition. It is also sometimes called morality. Attrition simply refers to a participant dropping out of your research study. Differential attrition is the differential loss of participants from the various comparison groups. The ninth trait to internal validity is actually a set of traits. This set is called additive and interactive effect. Remember that the key of further selection effects is that the group must be affected differently by the particular that to internal validity. And the second, external validity. External validity has to do with the degree to which the result of a study can be generalized to and across population of persons, settings, times, outcomes, and treatment variations. External validity is generalizing validity because it always has to do with how well you can generalize research results. And then next, population validity. Population validity is the ability to generalize the study results to individuals who were not included in the study. And the next, ecological validity. Ecological validity is present to the degree that a research generalizes across different settings. For example, let's say that you find that a new teaching techniques works in urban schools. You may also want to know if the same technique works in rural schools and suburban schools. And the next, temporal validity. Temporal validity is the extent to which the study results can be generalized across time. For example, assume you find that a certain discipline technique works well with many different kinds of children and in many different settings. After many years, you may note that it is not working anymore. You will need to conduct additional research to make sure that the technique is robust over time, and if not, to figure out why and to find out what worked better. Likewise, findings from far in the past often need to be realized to make sure that they still work. And the next, treatment variation validity. Treatment variation validity is the degree to which one can generalize the results of the study across variation of the treatment. Outcome validity. And the next, outcome validity. Outcome validity is the degree to which one can generalize the results of a study across different but related dependent variables. For example, if a study shows a positive effect on self-esteem, will it also show a positive effect on the related constraint of self-efficacy? And the next, research validity in qualitative research. Now, I will briefly discuss the major types of validity in qualitative research, and I will list some very important and effective strategies that can be used to help you obtain high qualitative research validity or trustworthiness. First, descriptive validity. Descriptive validity is present to the degree that the account reported by the research is accurate and factual. And the next, interpretive validity. Interpretive validity is present to the degree that the research accurately portrays and meanings given by the participants to what is being studied. And next, theoretical validity. Theoretical validity is present to the degree that a theoretical explanation provided by the research fits the data. And the next, internal validity. Internal validity is the same as it was for quantitative research. It is the degree to which a research is just in concluding that an observed relationship is causal. It also refers to whether you can conclude that one event caused another event. That issue for causal validity is important if the qualitative research is interested in making any tentative statement about cause and effect. And the last, external validity. External validity is pretty much the same as it was for quantitative research. It is still the degree to which you can generalize your research to other people, settings, and times. Okay, mom and friends, that's the material. Thank you.